The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Once again, we meet everyone's favorite sleuth, Sherlock Holmes. And today, we find him deeply involved in solving the riddle of the Musgrave Ritual, an ancient catechism handed down for centuries. A seemingly innocent passage into the rights of manhood. But its dark secret led to murder of the most horrible kind.
When the bats fly low and the night's in the sky... Good Lord, Holmes, what is this, Satanism?
I believe, Watson, it's part of one of the spells that were supposed to have been recited to bring Lucifer on the scene.
Then this other ritual you gave me must also refer to the devil.
What leads you to that conclusion?
Well, look at the questions. Whose was it?
His who is gone.
And who shall have it?
He who will come.
If not the devil, then who?
That you'll find out, Watson, when you solve the riddle of the Musgrave Ritual.
Our mystery drama, The Musgrave Ritual, was adapted from the Arthur Conan Doyle classic, especially for the Mystery Theater, by Murray Burnett, and stars Gordon Gould. I'll be back shortly with... We tend to think of Sherlock Holmes as always having been famous. We also tend to think of the police he came in contact with as being skeptical but respectful of his prowess. Indulgent of his idiosyncrasies because they realized that he had hit in some lucky or miraculous fashion upon clues they'd overlooked. But of course, it wasn't always so. When he first started on his career, it was quite different. And today we embark with him and Watson upon the third case of his fabulous career, the Musgrave Ritual.
In chronicling the cases of my friend Sherlock Holmes, I found the most difficulty in setting down the events in those dramas in which I played no part. The Musgrave Ritual is one affair that happened before Holmes and I met. He told me that it started when his old university friend, Reginald Musgrave, visited him in his room in Montague Street, hard by the museum.
Come in, Musgrave.
I pray to heaven, Holmes, that you can make a proper deduction in my trouble. Although I must confess, the police were against my coming to you at all.
Perhaps you'd better start at the beginning. Your problem may be one that lends itself to a simple solution.
I wish it was so. I doubt it very much. You see, it's one that concerns my servants. 2 of them have disappeared without a trace. And I'm afraid I may be somewhat to blame.
Time enough to place the blame, and we've solved the problem. Who are the missing people?
The butler, Brandon, and the second housemaid, Rachel Howells.
You have a large staff, then?
Oh, yes, although I'm a bachelor. Holston is a large, rambling old place. Takes a good deal of looking after.
How long have the 2 been with you?
Brunton's been with us for 20 years. My father, who passed away some years ago, hired him. He was a school teacher with no job. He became invaluable. He's a great linguist and an accomplished musician. And extremely handsome.
He sounds like a paragon among butlers.
But he did have one fault. He was a bit of a Don Juan. A few months ago, I thought all our problems were solved because he became engaged to Rachel Howells. But the more I think of it, the more I believe that this is where all the trouble started. Rachel had come in to dust the study. I looked up from my newspaper.
I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not disturbing you.
No, not at all, Rachel. Tell me, have you and Brunton set a date yet?
I'm sorry, sir, but Very sorry. I shouldn't burden you with my troubles.
My dear child, I don't understand.
It's all off between me and Brunton. He's found someone else.
What? When did this happen?
Yesterday, sir. Mr. Brunton came to me and apologized and said he'd found someone else. Someone he'd fallen deeply in love with. It wouldn't be fair for us to go ahead with our plans.
My dear girl, I really don't know what to say.
Nothing to say, sir. I thank you for your kindness and excuse me, I really don't feel very well.
The girl had a breakdown. We sent for the doctor, and I must say I was shocked when I heard that Brunton's new love was the daughter of the head gamekeeper.
I take it she's not missing.
Oh, no. She's upset and baffled like the rest of us, but there's more to the story. A really shocking incident which happened regarding Brunton. Last Thursday night, I couldn't sleep, so I decided to continue with a novel I had been reading. However, it was in the billiard room. As I was passing the library, I saw light. My first thought was burglars. But after picking a weapon off the wall and stealing silently into the library, I was astonished to find Brunton fully dressed and unlocking one of the bureaus. So, Brunton, this is how you repay the trust my family has reposed in you.
Sir, this is not what you think.
No? I find you rifling a bureau drawer in the dead of night, looking through my family's papers, and you tell me it's not what I think.
Nothing is missing, sir. I'm not a thief, Mr. Musgrave.
Whatever you are, you're no longer in my employ.
Please, let me explain. I think 20 years of service entitles me at least to that.
Very well.
Well, as you know, sir, when your father first hired me, I was a schoolteacher. I've never lost interest in scholarship. History holds a fascination for me. I'm consumed by it. The Musgraves are one of the oldest families in England and are an important part of our history. All I've been doing is looking through the old papers you have here.
In the dead of night, secretly, and behind my back.
There's a bad mistake on my part, sir, but I was afraid you might deny me permission.
There's no excuse for what you've been doing. You leave tomorrow.
Mr. Musgrave, please, sir. I'd ask you to consider the years I've spent with the family.
Holmes, I turned a deaf ear to his pleas, and he walked off. The taper was still on the table, and by its light I could see the paper that Brunton had taken from the bureau. And to my surprise, it wasn't anything important. Simply a copy of the questions and answers in the singular old observance called the Musgrave Ritual.
And that is?
A ceremony peculiar to our family, which each Musgrave for centuries past has gone through on coming of age. At any rate, I relocked the bureau, and I had turned to go when I was surprised to see Brunton standing before me.
Mr. Musgrave, I've always been a proud man. I can't bear disgrace, sir. Disgrace will kill me. Believe me, my blood will be upon your head if you drive me to despair. If you cannot keep me after what has passed, then let me give notice and leave in a month.
A month is too long. Take yourself off in a week and give whatever reason you like.
Only a week, sir. A fortnight, sir, at least a fortnight.
A week? And consider yourself fortunate that I have been this lenient.
The trouble with presenting an accurate picture of Holmes' cases in which I wasn't involved lay in working from Holmes' notes, which were sketchy at best, and in a particular, peculiar shorthand, which I sometimes found baffling. In this case of the Musgrave Ritual, I found it necessary to ask him what part the police had played.
The police? My dear Watson, remember, they weren't Scotland Yard, and I dealt with a Sergeant Davies of the County Constabulary. He was somewhat less than enthusiastic.
Well, no, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Mr. Musgrave thinks the world of you, and he's asked me to give you every assistance.
And I appreciate that, Sergeant. Would you mind telling me if you've reached any conclusions?
We most certainly have, Mr. Holmes. And I know that the simple professional solution doesn't please you amateurs.
And your conclusions, Sergeant?
Brunton was quite a slippery character. And once Mr. Musgrave caught him red-handed, so to speak, he knew the jig was up, and he took off. Now, we've got bulletins out all over England and the continent for him. He'll turn up.
I see. And the girl, Rachel?
Well, no. That was a pretty piece of acting. Brunton must have been serious about her all along and just used the engagement to the gamekeeper's daughter to cover his traces. Meanwhile, she acted heartsick and then ran off after him to meet him somewhere. Well, Mr. Holmes, that ties everything up nice and neatly, eh?
There are a few questions. You describe Brunton as a slippery character, meaning that he had been engaged in acts of thievery before?
Oh, yes, of course.
Then how do you account for the fact that Mr. Musgrave says that in 20 years he'd never once missed anything of value? Neither cash nor jewels.
Hurst's a very large place, Mr. Holmes. I suspect that if Mr. Musgrave were to take inventory, he might change his tune.
So you have it marked as a case of theft and flight?
That's what our experience tells us. Now, don't you agree?
I think it may be a little more complicated than that. On the train up here, Mr. Musgrave told me you were very thorough in checking Rachel Howell's footprints.
Oh, yes. We traced them right across the lawn to the edge of the pond, then on to the gravel, which leads out of the grounds.
That was good work.
Thank you, sir.
And this leads you to believe that Rachel Howell left the grounds?
Of course, sir. Don't you?
Yes, Sergeant, I do. Only Musgrave also told me you had the pond dragged and fished up a linen bag containing a mass of old rusted and discolored metal and several pebbles.
That's so. Now, at first we thought the poor girl might have done away with herself, and that...
Surely she wouldn't have thought of killing herself if she were going to join her lover.
That was before we hit upon our solution. You see, before we knew she went off.
I see. But then, what about this linen bag?
Oh, probably some junk that had been there for years.
But then, wouldn't the linen have been eroded? As I understand it, the bag looked as if it had been only recently immersed.
There's that, sir. I give you that.
Thank you, Sergeant. Now, did you consider the possibility that the girl threw that bag into the pond before she left the property?
Oh, why would she do a thing like that?
Why, indeed, Sergeant. If we had the answer, we'd know a lot more about the case. But why else would she go out of her way to stop by the pond if she were leaving the property?
I have been told you'd had some success at amateur detecting, but you amateurs are apt to carry things too far. Next thing you know, you'll be coming up with those old wives' tales about the old Musgraves dabbling in witchcraft.
You're the first one to mention that, Sergeant. But it does hold some interest.
For the amateurs, not the professionals. If we listen to half the tales the widow Sykes spins, we'd be chasing shadows every full moon.
The widow Sykes?
She's the village historian and the village gossip. If you don't want to waste your time, Mr. Holmes, steer clear of the widow.
Holmes, I'd like very much to know more about this thing called the Musgrave ritual.
But surely the whole ritual is outlined in my notes.
Oh, yes, I do have it here.
Read it to me, please. I'd like to refresh my memory.
Well, it seems to be in question and answer form.
That's so. Let me see if I can recall the answers if you will read the questions.
Very well. First question, whose was it?
His who is gone.
That's right. Well, now, second question, who shall have it?
He who will come.
Where was the sun?
Over the... let me recall. Over the oak.
Where was the shadow?
Under the elm.
Remarkable memory, yours, Holmes.
Thank you, Watson. Go on.
How was it stepped off?
Your compliment came a question too soon, Watson. I've completely forgotten the numbers. Give them to me.
North by 10 and by 10. East by 5 and by 5. South by 2 and by 2. West by 1 and by 1, and so under. It's just gibberish, Holmes.
Go on.
What shall we give for it?
All that is ours.
Why should we give it?
For the sake of the trust.
Well, that seems to be all. It's amazing how you record most of it.
Now that you've heard the Musgrave ritual, what do you think?
For the life of me, Holmes, I can't make head nor tails of that rigmarole.
But you realize its importance, Watson. Perhaps it would help you if I told you that the spelling of the original catechism was definitely middle of the 17th century.
The secret of Sherlock Holmes' unparalleled fascination for readers was that he not only amazed Watson, but also his readers. Once you embark upon an adventure with the famous sleuth, you eagerly join in the chase, whether it be to hunt down a criminal or solve a riddle. And in some cases, both. We'll find out which this was in Act 2. A classic Gershwin tune goes, "A foggy day in London town. It had me low, it had me down." Whenever I hear it, I can't help thinking that fog and London and Sherlock Holmes make for one of the most exciting combinations in all of literature. We return to 221B Baker Street, where Watson is patiently trying to unravel Holmes' notes in the case of the Musgrave ritual.
Holmes, I know you're trying to help me, but from your notes it appears we have 3 separate mysteries to solve. The disappearance of the butler, Brunton, Rachel Howell's vanishing, and this ancient Musgrave ritual.
That's just it, Watson. Suppose there was only one mystery, one problem to solve, and by solving it, all 3 questions would be answered. What then?
I don't see how that could be possible.
I was convinced that the roots of all these happenings lay in the past. And so I disregarded the advice of Sergeant Davies and went to visit the widow Sykes in her small cottage in the village.
Come right in, Mr. Holmes. Never mind the geese. They're better than dogs for guarding the house.
Sergeant Davies said you might be able to help me.
Mr. Holmes, I can see you're not one to stick too close to the truth. If that windbag said anything at all about me, it was to tell you to pay me no mind. Would you like a cup of tea?
No, thank you.
You mind if I have a cup? Earlston is a dark place. There were dark deeds done in the old days.
Did you know Brunton?
Since he was a lad. He was smart, I'll grant him that, but not as smart as he thought he was. A lot of people knew what he was up to at Earlston.
Oh, what was that?
Looking for things that were best left lost.
Can you give me some idea of the nature of those things?
I'm old, Mr. Holmes, and I hold to the old ideas about good and evil. And there were people at Earlston long ago who knew too much about the nature of evil. They did evil deeds. I'm talking about the Musgrave. Back more than 100 years, they dabbled in witchcraft.
And you think Brunton was...
Looking to find out how they work their spells. Trying to find out how they got their powers.
And?
And either he found out or he made a mistake. Either way, Mr. Holmes, he's gone.
I see. And what about Rachel Howells?
She's Welsh, Mr. Holmes, and they're a fine people, but there's darkness in some of them, and there was a lot of it in her. Mark my words, sir, if you want to find the answer, you'll find it in the old days and the dark days.
Thank you, Mrs. Sykes. You've been most helpful.
You really mean that?
I do.
Then you believe in witchcraft.
No, but I share your belief that the answer to the mystery lies in the past.
I know this must seem a nuisance to you, Holmes, but really, your notes leave a good deal to be desired.
No need to apologize, Watson. As my biographer, you have every right to ask questions. Go back to the ritual, Watson. You were on the right track there. Ask yourself why Brunton should be so anxious to master this old formula.
I cannot imagine.
That's because there's no guile in you, my dear friend. Obviously, Brunton expected some personal advantage from it. What was it, then? And how had it affected his fate?
Holmes, I haven't the foggiest.
If you continue reading, you'll find that I went back to Hurlstone and sought out Reginald Musgrave.
Here you've been looking for me, Holmes.
You'll forgive me, Musgrave, if I say that this butler of yours appears to me to have been a very clever man, and to have had a clearer insight than 10 generations of his masters.
I hardly follow you.
His avid interest in the Musgrave ritual.
But the ritual has no practical importance.
On the contrary, it seems immensely practical, and I shall need your help in proving it. First, that magnificent old oak tree on the left-hand side of the drive. Was it standing when your ritual was drawn?
In all probability, it was there at the Norman Conquest. It has a girth of 23 feet.
Have you any old elms on the property?
Well, now, there used to be a very old one, some yards from the oak, but it was struck down by a bolt of lightning 10 years ago, and we cut down the stump.
You can still see where it used to be?
Oh, yes.
I should like to see where it grew.
All we have to do is step outside. There you are, Holmes. You can see the scar in the lawn.
I don't suppose it's possible to find out how high the elm was.
I can give it to you exactly. It was 64 feet.
How did you come to know it?
My old tutor gave me exercises in trigonometry. They invariably took the shape of measuring heights. When I was a lad, I worked out every tree and building on the estate.
Tell me, did your butler Brunton ever ask you such a question?
On my word, Holmes, I don't know how you ferreted that out. But he did ask me some months ago in connection with an argument he said he had with a groom. But I still fail to understand what's behind it all.
Holmes, I must confess that I sympathize with Musgrave's bewilderment.
Look at my notes. Go back to the ritual and read.
Where? What?
Where was the sun?
Over the oak. I see, Holmes, and the shadow was under the elm.
Precisely. It was obvious from the first that the trees and the measurements were used as guides to some location. And if we could find that exact location, we should be well along towards finding the secret the Musgrave family thought necessary to cloak in so curious a fashion.
Hold on. The ritual mentions shadow under the elm. Now, that must mean the far end of the shadow. Otherwise, they would have chosen the trunk as a guide.
Excellent, Watson.
But how in the world would you measure the shadow when the elm is no longer there?
Oh, come, Watson. I know if Brunton could do it, I could also. I went with Musgrave to his study and found 2 lengths of a fishing rod which measured exactly 6 feet. Then I whittled myself a peg to which I tied a long string with a knot at each yard. And then we went back to the elm. I see the sun is just grazing the top of the oak, which is fortunate for us. Now, this is the spot where the elm stood, Musgrave?
Right there, Holmes.
We put the fishing rod in place, so, and lay out the peg along the lines of the shadow. And we see that it comes to exactly 9 feet.
And my mathematical training tells me that if a rod of 6 feet throws a shadow of 9 feet, then a tree of 64 feet will throw one of 96.
Correct. Let's get back to the oak and pace out the measurements step by step. 3, 4, 5. That's 5 to the east.
I see now, Holmes. I believe we're really onto something. The next is 2 to the south.
1, 2. They're right at the very threshold of the door to the old house.
West by 1. We have to go in.
1 by 1. 2 steps in, and here we are. Just a passageway. My deductions were correct, and yet there's obviously nothing here.
We've left out the and under, remember? 1 by 1, and so under.
There's a cellar under this thing?
Yes, and as old as the house. Down here, through this door.
Ah, there's a lantern down here.
I will strike a match.
People have been here, Musgrave. See, the wood has all been piled carefully along the walls, leaving a clear space in the middle here.
That's Brunton's muffler. I'll swear to it. What's he been doing here?
On the same quest as we, I'm afraid.
There's a stone with a rusted iron ring in the center. Holmes, let's have it up.
By all means, Musgrave. But I think we should first send for Sergeant Davies.
Well, now, Mr. Holmes. Think we found something, have we?
Did you bring anyone with you, Sergeant?
I think I can handle this by myself.
I hope you're right.
All right, then. What do you want me to do?
Help us lift this flagstone.
Right you are. Let's get a grip on the ring. And here.
It's too dark to see anything down there.
Now stand back and let me flash the lantern down.
Good Lord in heaven. Is that thing Brunton?
I'm afraid so, Musgrave.
But his hands, what happened to them?
I imagine he wore them away, scratching at the slab to move it.
Hardly room enough for a man to stand upright in that hole.
I should hazard a guess that there wasn't enough air for more than an hour.
What made him do it, Holmes? What made him do it?
Greed, Musgrave. Greed and love.
Surely that wasn't all, Holmes.
Far from it. I was as disappointed as you when we uncovered the body of Brunton, and we're still faced with several unanswered questions. When the police took Brunton's body out of that hole under the cellar, they also found a chest.
With buried treasure?
Empty. I knew it was empty when Sergeant Davies, with a great many flourishes, brought it to Musgrave's study to open it. It had to be.
I don't follow.
Because you don't use my methods. Think back to what you already read. What happened in the cellar?
Well, I remember exactly what you wrote. You sent for Sergeant Davies and waited until he got there, and then you and Davies wrenched open the stone.
Both of us, Watson, with some difficulty.
I see. Brunton must have had an accomplice.
Exactly. And therefore Brunton opened the chest and handed the contents over to his accomplice.
What about the accomplice?
That required some logical thinking and deduction. I asked myself what we knew. First, that Brunton had solved the riddle of the ritual. Secondly, he'd located the place and found that flagstone was too heavy for him to lift. Where could he find help? From outside? Too risky. Even if he could find someone he could trust. He had to have someone inside the house. But who?
Rachel Howells.
Of course. But remember, he had jilted the girl. How would he then proceed to enlist her help?
From the picture you've given me as to the kind of rogue he was, I imagine he would have attempted to convince her that he still loved her.
You hit it, Watson. I tell you, I could see the action as if I myself were a witness. Brunton, slipping upstairs to her room late at night, and and tapping softly on the door.
There are times in everyone's life when one feels like murdering his best friend. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle tells us that this was one of the times that Watson could cheerfully have killed his friend Holmes, because Holmes broke off his narrative to fill a pipe. But he did continue, and so will we, right after these messages. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle isn't noted as an author who writes cliffhangers, but we must remember he penned the longest cliffhanger of all time when he left Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty dangling over the Reichenbach Falls for 3 years before resurrecting him. And now, in explaining and filling out his notes on the Musgrave ritual, he'd left Watson waiting while he filled his pipe, before picking up the narrative where he'd left off, with a soft tapping on Rachel Howell's door in the dead of night.
Who is it?
It's Richard.
Richard? What do you want?
To talk to you.
Go away.
Rachel, please. It's important.
To you or to me?
To both of us. To our life together. Please, open the door.
All right. But just for a moment.
Thank you, Rachel.
Why'd you close the door? If you think you...
Rachel, I'm here to ask you to forgive me. I treated you shamefully.
Oh, it took you until tonight to realize that?
No, I knew it all along, but I'm a weak man, you know that. And she tempted me.
This isn't a church. My room is no place to bare your soul. What do you want? Why are you here?
I want you to promise to come away with me, to start a new life together as my wife.
What?
I mean it, Rachel. It took these weeks away from you to realize you were my true love.
And what about your engagement to Jane?
Well, it's only justice that you'd be treated as I treated you.
And where'd we go?
Anywhere you want, anywhere in the world.
Oh, well, I know you've got a glib tongue.
This isn't just talk. I've discovered the secret.
Are you still talking about that old piece of paper?
That old piece of paper is going to make us rich. Rich beyond anything you ever dreamed.
So you told me when you first said you loved me.
But then I didn't know where to look. I found it, Rachel. I found the place.
Oh, and what is it? Gold? Diamonds? What?
I don't know yet. We'll find out together.
I thought you said you'd found it.
I found where it's buried. I need your help to get it up. Rachel, do you hear me?
Get out.
What?
So Jane wouldn't help when you asked her?
Of course you have every right to think that, but I swear to you it's not true. I've not even whispered a word of this to Jane.
I don't believe you.
How can I convince you?
You come to my room in the middle of the night. You tell me you've had yet another change of heart. You don't love Jane. You love me.
I've always loved you.
And then you ask my help. Well, you can have it when you announce our engagement.
But I can't do that.
Why not?
Because of the repercussions. I'd look like a fool in everyone's eyes. Think of what the other servants would say.
Well, that didn't bother you before. Do just what you did with me.
Impossible.
That's what I thought. Well, now you can leave. There's nothing to keep you here.
Rachel, I've been sacked.
Is there no end to your life?
It's true. Mr. Musgrave caught me in the library studying the ritual. I found the treasure, but I've only got 3 days to get it.
The treasure? That's what's important to you, isn't it?
It's important to us. With the treasure, we can do as we please. Live the life we want. Think of it, Rachel. You and I together, master and mistress. We'll hire servants instead of serving others.
Oh, if only I could believe you.
Listen, you can test me. Go to Mr. Musgrave. Tell him I told you I was leaving. He'll admit that it's so. Now, do you believe me?
If only I could. I want to. My heart wants me to, but
Rachel, trust me. Just let yourself trust me. Listen to your heart, Rachel. Come here into my arms. Don't think any more.
My word, Holmes, you made me actually see it. It's just as if you were there.
The science of deduction, Watson. Now, we have Rachel enlisted firmly on Brunton's side. They don't have much time, so I suspect that the very next night, Brunton and Rachel crept down to the cellar, very cautiously and quietly, and...
All right, here we are, Rachel.
But there's nothing in this old cellar except logs and wood.
That's what everyone thinks. But if we lift these pieces of wood from the center of the floor and put them over there, hey, what do we find?
A stone with a ring in the center.
Right, my girl. And now, please give me a hand with this.
But there isn't enough room on the ring for me to get a grip.
There. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right, now, when I say Eve, we'll both pull.
All right.
All right. Eve. Again. That's no good. See if we can squeeze your fingers closer together so I can get my whole hand underneath the ring.
All right, but then I can't use all my strength.
Well, let's try it.
All
right, now. Eve. That's it. Keep pulling, Rachel. Got it. Hang on.
I can't for long. It's too heavy.
Kick that piece of wood over to me. Right, quickly now. Hang on. Just let's get this wood under. There. It's done. All right, you can let go.
1 minute more. I've let it drop.
All right. I'll climb down. You flash the lantern so I can see.
Oh, I hope this isn't no wild goose chase.
Never fear. It's all in the ritual. The light. The chest. See the chest?
Yes, I see it.
It's locked. But the wood is rotted. There, I have it. Here. Hold it for me. I'll pass it up to you.
What is it?
I don't know. I didn't look. I'm glad I was right about you, Rachel, my darling. I knew I needed a big, beautiful girl like you. A slight wisp of a thing like Jane would never have been able to... Watch out! The wood wedge, it's slipping! Rachel, push it back under the edge! Rachel, help me, please! Rachel!
Good heavens, Holmes. What a horrible picture you paint.
Horrible? Certainly. But that must have been the way it happened, Watson. That explains her behavior with Musgrave when he questioned her the next day about Brunton's whereabouts. You recall she became hysterical and was almost incoherent.
No wonder.
That's a picture I can never quite get out of my mind. I still sometimes see that woman's figure dashing out of the cellar and up the stairs, clutching the treasure. Was it chance that the wood wedge slipped? Or some smouldering fires of vengeance awoke in Rachel when he said what he did about her rival Jane? Or perhaps he didn't have to say anything. Perhaps she saw she had him in her power and kicked the wood support away herself. What do you think, Watson?
I really don't know. But does it matter?
Unanswered questions nag at me.
Holmes, aside from the fact that I know what happened to Brunton and why, I'm still at a loss about the treasure.
Come, Watson. You know exactly what happened to it. Look at the facts.
Well, I assume from your notes and what you've told me that Rachel discovered it was worthless and threw it in the pond before she ran away.
That's half right.
Half? But didn't you tell me that all that was found when they dragged the pond was a linen bag with some old worthless metal in it?
Rachel did indeed throw the bag in the pond, but the contents were far from worthless.
Oh, dear. I'll never get this straight.
You will if you hang on to your original hunch. The answer lay in the ritual and the coins that were found in the chest.
Are you playing quite fair with me, Holmes?
That's a shrewd question, Watson. I should have added that part of the answer lies in the history of the Musgrave family. They were staunch cavaliers opposed to the Roundheads.
That doesn't help much.
What was the first question in the ritual?
Whose was it?
And the answer was, his who is gone. That can only refer to one person, Charles I. Remember the coins?
Well, I see that now, but still...
And the ritual continues, who shall have it? Watson, you can give me the answer.
Yes, he who will come. Well, that could be anybody.
No, Watson. It could be only one person. Charles II, whose advent was already foreseen. Watson, the treasure was the crown of the Stuarts.
But how was it that Charles did not get his crown when he returned?
The only explanation is that the Musgrave who held the secret died suddenly, and by some oversight left the ritual to his descendant without explaining the meaning of it. From that day to this, it had been handed down from father to son, until at last it came within reach of a man who deciphered its secret and lost his life in the venture.
And the girl, Rachel?
No trace of her has been found to this day.
Is it possible she did away with herself?
I have considered that, Watson. And I knew, whether she had or not, I'd have the answer to the question that bothers me.
How so?
It stands to reason that if Rachel Howells committed suicide, then the wood wedge must have slipped, and she couldn't stand the guilt and remorse she felt because she did nothing to help Brunton. If, on the other hand, she didn't kill herself, then she must have felt justified in taking her terrible revenge and making a successful escape.
To my knowledge, this is the only story Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote that ended with any sort of conundrum. And this one, about whether Rachel Howells deliberately entombed her former lover or was unable to prevent a horrible tragedy, can surely take its place alongside the justly famous The Lady or the Tiger. I'll be back shortly. The question about Rachel Howells, and did she or didn't she commit suicide, is most intriguing, and each of you undoubtedly has his or her own answer. I lean to the theory that it was deliberate, because Conan Doyle and Holmes make much of her dark, Celtic, passionate background, and I'm a firm believer in the old adage, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Our cast included Gordon Gould, Court Benson, Marion Seldes, and Bernard Grant. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
Mystery Theater. This week from Vancouver, The Adventure of the Noble Bachelor by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, adapted for radio by Otto Lowy.
Holmes. Watson, there's a very fashionable epistle with a huge crest on the envelope addressed to you. The morning letters, if I remember right, were from a fishmonger and a tide waiter.
Yes, my correspondence is certainly the charm of variety. And the humbler are usually the more interesting. Well, it may prove to be of something of interest after all.
Oh, not social, then?
No, distinctly professional.
And from a noble client?
One of the highest in England.
Dear fellow, I congratulate you.
I assure you, Watson, without affectation, the status of my client is a matter of less moment to me than the interest of his case.
Quite.
It is just possible, however, that also may not be wanting in this new investigation. You've been reading the papers diligently of late, have you not?
I've had nothing else to do. Look at that huge bundle over there in the corner.
I read nothing except the criminal news and the agony column. The latter is always instructive. But if you've followed recent events so closely, you must have read about Lord St. Simon and his wedding.
Oh, yes, with the deepest interest.
That is well. The letter which I hold in my hand is from Lord St. Simon.
Oh, really?
I will read it to you. And in return, you must tell me what you remember. Now, this is what he says. My dear Mr. Sherlock Holmes, Lord Backwater tells me that I may place implicit reliance upon your judgment and discretion. I have determined, therefore, to call upon you and to consult you in reference to the very painful event which has occurred in connection with my wedding. I will call at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Yours faithfully, St. Simon. It is dated from Grosvenor Mansions, written with a quill pen. The noble lord has had the misfortune to get a smear of ink on the outer side of his right little finger.
Well, he says 4 o'clock. He'll be here shortly.
Quite.
Let's see, what is that? There was a notice in the personal column of the Morning Post that a marriage had been arranged and would take place between Lord Robert St. Simon, second son of the Duke of Balmoral, and Miss Hattie Doran, the only daughter of Aloysius Doran of San Francisco.
I see. Anything else?
Oh, yes. There was another note in the Morning Post to say that the marriage would be an absolutely quiet one, that it would be at St. George's, Hanover Square, and that the party would return to the furnished house at Lancaster Gate, which had been taken by Mr. Doran.
I see.
And 2 days later, there was a curt announcement that the wedding had taken place and that the honeymoon would be passed at Lord Backwater's place near Petersfield. Those were all the notices which appeared in the papers before the disappearance of the bride.
Before the what?
The vanishing of the lady.
Oh. When did she vanish, then?
Why, at the wedding breakfast.
Indeed. This is more interesting than it promised to be. Quite dramatic, in fact.
Yes, it struck me as being a little out of the common, you know.
Yes, they often vanish before the ceremony, and occasionally during the honeymoon, but I cannot call to mind anything quite so prompt as this. Pray, let me have the details.
Well, I warn you, I don't remember all the details.
Let me have what you do remember, then.
Now, let's see. Well, it appears there was some little trouble caused by a woman who endeavoured to force her way into the house after the bridal party, alleging she had some claim upon Lord St. Simon. I understand she was ejected by the butler and the footman.
Yes?
Well, then the bride sat down to breakfast with the rest, then complained of a sudden indisposition and retired to her room. She was away so long that her father followed her and learned from her maid that she'd only come up to her chamber for an instant, caught up an ulster and bonnet, and had left the house. Well, Doran got into communication with the police, and I understand energetic inquiries are being made, which will probably result in a speedy clearing up of this very singular business.
Any mention of foul play?
Well, there are rumours. It's said that the police have caused the arrest of the woman who caused the original disturbance, in the belief that, from jealousy or some other motive, she may have been concerned in the strange disappearance.
I see, and is that all?
I see. Oh, one little item in another of the morning papers.
And what is that?
That Miss Flora Miller, the lady who caused the disturbance, was formerly a danseuse at the Allegro, and that she had known the bridegroom for some years. There were no further particulars, and the whole case is, as far as I know, it is in your hands now.
And an exceedingly interesting case it appears to be. I would not have missed it for worlds.
No.
There is a ring at the bell, Watson, and as the clock makes it a few minutes after 4, I have no doubt that this will prove to be our noble client. I do not dream of going, Watson, for I very much prefer having witnesses, if only as a check to my own memory.
Very well.
Good day. Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I presume?
In here, please.
My name is Lord Robert St. Simon.
Good day, Lord St. Simon. This is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson.
Dr. Watson.
How do you do, sir?
Please take the basket chair. Draw it up a little to the fire, and we'll talk this matter over.
Thank you. A most painful matter to me, as you can most readily imagine, Mr. Holmes. I have been cut to the quick. I understand that you have already managed several delicate cases of this sort, sir, though I presume that they were hardly from the same class of society.
No. I am descending.
I beg pardon?
My last client of the sort was a king.
Oh, really? Oh, I had no idea. And which king?
The king of Scandinavia.
What? Had he lost his wife?
You can understand that I extend to the affairs of my other clients the same secrecy which I promise you in yours.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, very right. I'm sure I beg pardon. As to my own case, I am ready to give you any information which may assist you in forming an opinion.
Thank you. I have already learned what is in the public prints. Nothing more. I presume that I may take it as correct. The article, for example, as to the disappearance of the bride.
Oh, yes, it is correct as far as it goes.
But it needs a great deal of supplementing before anyone can offer an opinion. I think that I may arrive at my facts most directly by questioning you.
Pray do so.
Thank you. When did you first meet Miss Hattie Doran?
In San Francisco, a year ago.
You were traveling in the States?
Yes.
Did you become engaged then?
No.
But you were on a friendly footing?
Oh, well, I was amused by her society, and she could see that I was amused.
Her father is very rich.
He is said to be the richest man on the Pacific slope.
And how did he make his money?
In mining. He had nothing a few years ago. Then he struck gold, invested it, and came up by leaps and bounds.
I see. And now, what is your own impression as to the young lady's, your wife's character?
Well, you see, Mr. Holmes, my wife was 20 before her father became a rich man. During that time, she ran free in a mining camp and wandered through woods or mountains, so that her education has come from nature rather than from the schoolmaster.
Yes.
On the other hand, of course, I would not have given her the name which I have the honor to bear, had I not thought her to be at bottom a noble woman.
Have you her photograph?
I brought this locket with me. It contains an ivory miniature of her likeness.
I see, thank you. Yes. The young lady came to London then, and you renewed your acquaintance.
Yes, her father brought her over for this last London season. I met her several times, became engaged to her, and have now married her.
She brought, I understand, a considerable dowry.
Oh, a fair dowry, not more than is usual in my family.
And this, of course, remains to you since the marriage is fait accompli.
Oh, I really have made no inquiries on the subject.
But very naturally not, of course. Did you see Miss Doran on the day before the wedding?
Yes.
Was she in good spirits?
Never better. She kept talking of what we should do in our future lives.
Indeed. Well, now, that is very interesting. And on the morning of the wedding?
She was as bright as possible, at least until after the ceremony.
And did you observe any change in her then?
Well, now, to tell the truth, I saw then the first signs that I had ever seen that her temper was just a little sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the incident, however, was too trivial to relate and can have no possible bearing upon the case.
Oh, pray, let us have it, though, for all that.
Oh, it is so childish. She dropped her bouquet as we went towards the vestry. She was passing the front pew at the time, and it fell over into the pew. There was a moment's delay, but the gentleman in the pew handed it up to her again, and it did not appear to be the worse for the fall. Yet, when I spoke to her of the matter, she answered me abruptly, and in the carriage on our way home she seemed absurdly agitated over this trifling cause.
Indeed. You say that there was a gentleman in the pew. Some of the general public were present then?
Oh, yes. It is impossible to exclude them when the church is open.
This gentleman was not one of your wife's friends?
Oh, no. No, I call him a gentleman by courtesy, but he was quite a common-looking person.
Lady St. Simon, then, returned from the wedding in a less cheerful frame of mind than she had gone to it. Now, what did she do on re-entering her father's house?
I saw her in conversation with her maid.
And who is her maid?
Alice is her name. She is an American and came from California with her.
A confidential servant?
Yes, a little too much so. It seemed to me that her mistress allowed her to take great liberties.
How long did she speak to this Alice?
A few minutes.
You did not overhear what they said?
Lady St. Simon said, she said something about jumping a claim. She was accustomed to use slang of the kind. I have no idea what she meant.
Oh, American slang is very expressive sometimes. And what did your wife do when she finished speaking to her maid?
She walked into the breakfast room.
On your arm?
No, alone. She was very independent in little matters like that. Then, after we sat down for 10 minutes or so, she rose hurriedly and muttered some words of apology and left the room. She never came back.
But this maid Alice, as I understand, deposes that she went to her room, covered her bride's dress with a long ulster, put on a bonnet, and went out.
Quite so. And she was afterwards seen walking into Hyde Park in company with Flora Miller, a woman who is now in custody and who had already made a disturbance at Mr. Doran's house that morning.
Yes. I should like a few particulars as to this young lady and your relations to her.
We have been on a very friendly footing for some years. Flora was a dear little thing, but exceedingly hot-headed and devotedly attached to me. She wrote me dreadful letters when she heard that I was about to be married, and to tell the truth, the reason why I had the marriage celebrated so quietly was that I feared lest there might be a scandal in the church. She came to Mr. Doran's door just after we returned, and she endeavored to push her way in, uttering very abusive expressions towards my wife, and even threatening her. But I had foreseen the possibility of something of the sort, and I had 2 police fellows there in private clothes. They soon pushed her out again.
Did your wife hear all this?
No, thank goodness she did not.
And she was seen walking with this very woman afterwards?
Yes, that is what Mr. Lestrade of Scotland Yard looks upon as so serious. It is thought that Flora decoyed my wife out and laid some terrible trap for her.
Well, it is a possible supposition.
You think so, too?
I did not say a probable one. But you do not yourself look upon this as likely?
I do not think Flora would hurt a fly.
Still, jealousy is a strange transformer of characters. And now, Lord St. Simon, I think that I have nearly all my data. May I ask whether you were seated at the breakfast table so that you could see out of the window?
We could see the other side of the road in the park.
Quite so. Then I do not think that I need detain you longer. I shall communicate with you.
Should you be fortunate enough to solve this problem, Mr. Holmes...
I have solved it.
What was that?
I say that I have solved it.
Where, then, is my wife?
That is a detail which I shall speedily supply.
I am afraid that it will take wiser heads than yours or mine. I bid you goodbye, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Do come in, Lestrade.
Good afternoon, Mr. Holmes.
There are cigars in the box.
Very much appreciated, Mr. Holmes. Good afternoon, Dr. Watson.
Good afternoon, Inspector.
What's up, then? You look dissatisfied.
And I feel dissatisfied. This infernal St. Simon marriage case, I can make neither head nor tail of the business.
Really, you surprise me.
Whoever heard of such a mixed affair? Every clue seems to slip through my fingers. I've been at work upon it all day.
Very wet it seems to have made you.
Yes, I've been dragging the Serpentine.
In heaven's name, what for?
You think that the Serpentine plays no part in the matter?
I think it's very unlikely.
Then perhaps you will kindly explain how it is that we found this in it. One wedding dress of watered silk, a pair of white satin shoes, a bride's wreath and veil, all discolored and soaked in water. There's a little nut for you to crack, Master Holmes.
Indeed. You dragged them from the Serpentine?
No. They were found floating near the margin by a parkkeeper. They have been identified as Lady St. Simon's clothes. And it seemed to me that if the clothes were there, the body would not be far off.
By the same brilliant reasoning, every man's body is to be found in the neighborhood of his wardrobe. And pray, What did you hope to arrive at through this?
At some evidence implicating Flora Miller and the disappearance.
Oh, I'm afraid you will find that difficult.
I'm afraid, Holmes, that you're not very practical with your deductions and your inferences. You have made 2 blunders in as many minutes. This dress does implicate Miss Flora Miller.
Oh, and how?
In the dress is a pocket. In the pocket is a card case. In the card case is a note. And here is the very note. Listen to this. You will see me when all is ready. Come at once. F.H.M. Now, my theory all along has been that Lady St. Simon was decoyed away by Flora Miller, and that she, with Confederates no doubt, was responsible for her disappearance. Here, signed with her initials, is the very note which was no doubt quietly slipped into her hand at the door, and which lured her within their reach.
Very good, Lestrade. You really are very fine indeed. Let me see it.
Mm-hmm.
This is indeed important.
Ah, you find it so?
Extremely so. I congratulate you warmly.
What, you're looking at the wrong side?
Oh, on the contrary. This is the right side.
The right side? You're mad. Here is the note written in pencil over here.
And over here is what appears to be the fragment of a hotel bill, which interests me very deeply.
There's nothing in it. I looked at it before. October 4th. Rooms, 8 shillings. Breakfast, 2 and 6. Cocktail, 1 shilling. Lunch, 2 and 6. Glass sherry, 8pence. I see nothing in that.
Very likely not. It is important, though, all the same. As to the note, it is important also, or at least the initials are. So I congratulate you again.
I've wasted time enough. I believe in hard work, not in sitting by the fire spinning fine theories. Good day, Mr. Holmes, and we shall see which gets to the bottom of the matter first.
Oh, just one hint to you, Lestrade. I will tell you the true solution to the matter. Lady St. Simon is a myth. There is not, there never has been, any such person.
As I said, good day to you, Mr. Holmes.
Well. There is something in what the fellow says about outdoor work. So I think, Watson, that I must leave you to your papers for a little.
I can only hope you've brought me here for some good reason, Mr. Holmes.
I think that I heard a ring. I expect my housekeeper is out. If I cannot persuade you to take a lenient view of the matter, Lord St. Simon, I have brought an advocate here who may be more successful. Watson?
Yes.
Perhaps you would be so good as to show our visitor in?
Oh, yes, good. This way, madam.
Thank you very much.
Lord St. Simon, allow me to introduce you to Mrs. Frank H. Moulton.
Well,
But I think you have already met.
Well, I really think that this is a...
You're angry, Robert. Well, I guess you have every reason to be.
Pray make no apology to me.
Oh, I know I've treated you very badly, but I was confused.
Perhaps, Mrs. Moulton, you would like my friend and me to leave the room while you explain this matter?
Perhaps we've had just a little too much of secrecy over this business already. I think I'll tell you my story right away.
Thank you. Pray do, madam.
Well, Frank and I met in '84 in McGuire's camp near the Rockies, where Daddy was working a claim, and we were engaged. Then Daddy struck a rich pocket and made a lot of money, while poor Frank had a claim that petered out and became nothing. Well, Daddy wouldn't hear of our engagement lasting any longer, and he took me away.
Where, if I may ask, did he take you?
San Francisco.
Thank you, madam. Pray continue.
Well, Frank wouldn't give up, though. He followed me there, and he saw me without Daddy's knowing anything about it. We got married right away, and then Frank went off to seek his fortune.
And what did you do, Mrs. Moulton?
Well, I went back to Daddy. The next I heard, Frank was in Montana, then New Mexico. A little later, I saw a newspaper article of how a miners' camp had been attacked by Apaches, and there was my Frank's name among those killed. Well, I fainted dead away, and I was very sick for months after. When I recovered, we came to London, and my marriage to you, Robert, was arranged. Well, Daddy was very pleased, but I felt that no man on earth could ever take Frank's place. Still, if I had married you, I'd have done my duty by you. I went to the altar with the intention of making you as good a wife as I was able. But just imagine what I felt like after the ceremony when I saw Frank standing and looking at me from the first row.
I quite understand, madam.
Well, I thought it was his ghost at first, but when I looked again, there he was still, with a kind of question in his eyes, like he was asking me whether I were glad or sorry to see him. Then I saw him scribble on a piece of paper, and I knew he was writing me a note. As I passed his pew on the way out, I dropped my bouquet by him, and he slipped the note into my hand when he returned the flowers. It was only a line asking me to join him when he made the sign. Of course, I never doubted for a moment that my first duty was now to him, and I decided to do just whatever he wanted. When I got back, I told my maid.
Perhaps that was the right moment to have consulted Lord St. Simon.
Well, I know I ought to have spoken to him, but it was impossible before his mother and all those great people. Well, I just made up my mind to run away and explain it afterwards. Well, I hadn't been at the table 10 minutes before I saw Frank out of the window on the other side of the road. He motioned to me, and then he began walking into the park. I slipped out, put on my things, and followed him. Some woman came telling me something or other about Lord St. Simon and herself. Seems like you had a little secret of your own before our marriage, Robert. Well, Frank and I got into a cab, and we drove to some lodgings he'd taken at Gordon Square. And that was my true wedding after all those years of waiting. You see, Frank had been a prisoner among the Apaches, and he escaped. Finally, he followed me here and found me on the very morning of my second wedding. We had a talk as to what we should do. I was so ashamed that I wanted to vanish away and never see any of them again. It was awful to think of all those lords and ladies sitting around that breakfast table waiting for me to come back.
Not a very inspiring sight, I grant you, madam.
I am sorry about that, but I'm afraid there was nothing I could do about it. Anyway, Frank took my wedding clothes and things and made a bundle of them so that I wouldn't be traced, and dropped them somewhere where no one could find them. It's likely that we should have gone on to Paris tomorrow, only this good gentleman, Mr. Holmes, came round to us this evening, though how he found us is more than I can figure out. Well, now you've heard it all. I know I've caused you pain, and I'm very sorry, but I hope you won't think ill of me, Robert.
It is not my custom to discuss my most intimate personal affairs in this public manner.
Oh, I had hoped that you would have joined us in a friendly supper.
There you ask a little too much. I may be forced to acquiesce in these recent developments, but I can hardly be expected to make merry over them. I think that, with your permission, I will now wish you all a very good night.
Well, my dear Watson, the case has been an interesting one, because it serves to show very clearly how simple the explanation may be of an affair which at first sight seems to be almost inexplicable. From the first, two facts were very obvious to me. One, that the lady had been quite willing to undergo the wedding ceremony. The other, that she had repented of it within a few minutes of returning home. Obviously, something then had occurred during the morning to cause her to change her mind. Now, what could that something be?
Well, she couldn't have spoken to anyone when she was out, for she'd been in the company of the bridegroom. Huh?
Had she seen someone then?
Well, no.
If she had, then it must be someone from America, because she had spent such a short time in this country that she could hardly have allowed anyone to acquire so deep an influence over her that the mere sight of him would induce her to change her plans so completely. You see, we have already arrived by a process of exclusion at the idea that she might have seen an American.
Quite.
When Lord St. Simon told us of a man in the pew, of the change in the bride's manner, of so transparent a device for obtaining a note as the dropping of a bouquet, of her resort to her confidential maid, and of her very significant allusion to claim jumping, which in miners' parlance means the taking possession of that which another person has a prior claim to.
Oh, I see.
The whole situation became absolutely clear. She had gone off with a man, and the man was either a lover or was a previous husband, the chances being in favor of the latter.
But, Holmes, how in the world did you find them?
Oh, now, that might have been difficult. But friend Lestrade held information in his hands, the value of which he did not himself know. The initials were, of course, of the highest importance, but more valuable still was it to know that within a week he had settled his bill at one of the most select London hotels.
Holmes, how did you deduce the select?
By the select prices.
Oh, I see.
8 shillings for a bed and 8 for a glass of sherry pointed to one of the most expensive hotels. There are not many in London that charge that rate.
No, that's quite right, yeah.
Now, in the second one, which I visited in Northumberland Avenue, I learned, by an inspection of the book, that Frank H. Moulton, an American gentleman, had left only the day before. And on looking over the entries against him, I came upon the very items which I had seen in the duplicate bill. His letters were to be forwarded to 226 Gordon Square, and that is where I found them.
Amazing, my dear Holmes.
I invited Mrs. Moulton to meet Lord St. Simon here, and, as you see, I made him keep his appointment.
But with no very good result. His conduct was certainly not very gracious.
My dear Watson, perhaps you would not be very gracious either if, after all the trouble of wooing and wedding, you found yourself deprived in an instant of wife and of fortune.
Oh, yes, I see.
I think that we may judge Lord St. Simon very mercifully, and thank our stars that we are never likely to find ourselves in the same position.
Yes, of course, I do.
Well, now, my dear Watson, draw up your chair and hand me my fiddle. For our only problem we have still to solve is how to while away these bleak autumnal evenings.
Here you are, my dear Holmes.
Thank you, Watson.
The Adventure of the Noble Bachelor by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, adapted for radio by Otto Lowy. Sherlock Holmes was played by Robert Clothier. Dr. Watson by Roy Brinson. Lord Robert St. Simon by Roland Hunter. Inspector Lestrade by Edward Greenhalgh. And Mrs. Frank Moulton by Linda Sorensen. Mystery Theater was produced this week in the Vancouver studios of the CBC, with sound effects by Lars Eastholm and technical operation by Gene Loverock. Direction, Don Mowat.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. There is documentation to prove that a person's hair can turn white because of a terrifying experience. It has also been proven that a person can actually die of fright, although that eventuality is more likely to occur if the person already has a weak heart, as did Major John Sholto in the Sherlock Holmes classic tale, The Sign of the Four.
Come closer, Thaddeus. I don't think I have much time left before I die. Bend down closer. I want to whisper to you the place where I've hidden the treasure. Is that it? A little more. Huh? That face! The face at the window! Don't let him in! Keep him away from me!
Our mystery drama, The Sign of the Four, was adapted from the Sherlock Holmes classic especially for the Mystery Theater by Murray Burnett and stars Kevin McCarthy. I'll be back shortly with Act One. A famous poem goes, London is a man's town with power in the air. Paris is a lady's town with flowers in her hair. It's a lovely fancy, but London is also a town full of ghosts. The wives of Henry VIII, wailing in the Tower, the echoes of the voices of William Pitt, Cromwell, and Edmund Burke in the House of Parliament. And, of course, the lean figure of Sherlock Holmes in his deerstalker hat, prowling the streets in search of a criminal. Our story today starts in the famous bachelor quarters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson at 221B Baker Street.
Miss Mary Morstan, please have a seat and tell me what brings you to me.
I have come to you, Mr. Holmes, because I can hardly imagine anything more strange, more utterly inexplicable than the situation in which I find myself.
Capital. You hear that, Watson? State your case, if you please.
Well, nearly 10 years ago, on the 3rd of December, 1878, my father, who was a senior captain of a regiment, came home from India on leave and disappeared without a trace.
You notified the police?
Oh, of course. When I came to his hotel, I learned that he had left the night before and had not returned. I called the police immediately.
His luggage?
Remained intact at the hotel. The police were very thorough, but a search produced no clue at all.
Had he any friends in London?
One. A retired fellow officer in the same regiment, Major John Sholto. We communicated with him, of course, but he hadn't even known my father was in England.
Singular.
Well, I haven't come to the most singular part. A year later, on my birthday, May 4th, I received through the post a small cardboard box, which, when I opened it, contained a single, large, lustrous pearl. Since then, every year on my birthday, I receive an identical box containing a similar pearl and no clue as to the sender. I took them to an expert who pronounced them to be both rare and valuable. But I brought them. You can see for yourself.
Better and better. But surely something else has happened to bring you to me today.
Just this morning, I received this letter. Perhaps you'll read it for yourself.
Thank you. Be at the third pillar from left outside Lyceum Theater tonight at 7 o'clock. If you are distrustful, bring 2 friends. You are a wronged woman and shall have justice. Do not bring police. If you do, all will be in vain. Your unknown friend. Now, this is really a pretty little mystery. What do you intend to do, Miss Morstan?
That's exactly what I want to ask you. What should I do?
We shall most certainly go. You and I and Dr. Watson.
My notes show that the charming Miss Morstan, Holmes, and myself were on hand at the dot of 7 and were met by a coachman, who, after ascertaining that none of us was from the police, took us up in the coach and whipped up his horse.
Mr. Holmes, do you have any idea where we are going?
Well, I imagine to meet the man who sent you the pearls and wrote the letter. I've examined the handwriting and find there can be no question but that the same person was responsible. Responsible for both, yes. Watson, you look closely at the address in the note. What do you make of this fellow's scribble?
Oh, well, it's legible and regular, even though he's tried to disguise it. A man of business habits and some force of character.
No, my dear chap.
Huh?
Look at his long letters. They hardly rise above the common herd. The D might be an A and the I an E. Men of character always differentiate their long letters, however illegibly they may write. There's also vacillation in his K's and self-esteem in his capitals. We'll soon see if my diagnosis is correct, because I believe we're almost at our destination. Let us descend.
Your servant, Miss Morstan. Your servant, gentlemen. Pray, step into my little sanctum. Please make yourselves comfortable. I am Thaddeus Sholto, and you, of course, are Miss Morstan. And these gentlemen?
Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
A doctor. Have you your stethoscope? Well, might I ask you to listen to my heart for a moment? I have grave doubts about my mitral valve. If you'd be so kind.
And there, in that strange small room with the glossy tapestries, richly mounted paintings, and 2 great tiger skins on the floor, I listened to the strange little man's heart, and found nothing amiss except that he was in an ecstasy of fear, for he shivered from head to foot.
Well, Doctor, what do you find?
Well, you've no cause for uneasiness. Appears to be normal.
Oh, excuse my anxiety, Miss Morstan, but I'm a great sufferer, and I've long had suspicions about that valve, and I'm delighted to hear that they're unwarranted. Had your father, Miss Morstan, refrained from throwing a strain upon his heart, he might have been alive today.
Oh, I was afraid he was dead. Perhaps, sir, you can tell me how he died.
So I shall at once. My father, as you may have guessed, was Major John Sholto, a dear friend of your father, Miss Morstan. Now, 11 years ago, he retired and came to live at Pondicherry Lodge in Upper Norwood. Now, my brother and I were his sole relatives, my mother having died in India. All that we knew was that our father was rich and lived both in luxury and fear. He never went out alone and employed 2 prize fighters as bodyguards. Well, we'd become quite accustomed to it until the arrival of a letter from India early in 1882. He fainted at the breakfast table, and from that day, he sickened to his death. At the end of April, we were informed that there was no hope, and he wished to make a last communication to us. I shall try to repeat his own words.
At this supreme moment, I have much on my conscience. First, I lied to you, my sons, when I said I knew nothing about Morstan's death. I knew all about it. But I swear it was none of my doing.
Please, Father, please don't excite yourself.
No matter now. Morstan and I, through a remarkable chain of circumstances, came into possession of a fabulous treasure. I brought it to England upon my retirement. When Morstan got leave, he came straight here to claim his share. His little water.
Father, you don't have to tell us any of this. Save your strength.
I must right the wrong I've done Morstan's girl. You see, that night he and I quarreled over the division of the Agra treasure. He'd always had a weak heart, which he'd concealed from people for years. He sprang out of his chair in a paroxysm of anger, fell backward suddenly, hitting his head on the desk. And when I stooped over him, to my horror, I found he was dead.
But why keep his death a secret?
Because my own faithful servant for 20 years, Lal Chowdhury, wouldn't believe me. He said he'd heard us quarreling, but that I should have no fear. He'd dispose of the body. No one would be the wiser.
Oh, surely, Father, that was most unwise. Why did you
You're
ever...
a fool, Thaddeus. I told Lyle the truth, and he didn't believe me. Now, if my own faithful servant thought I'd killed Morstan, what would the police have thought? No, that was right. What was wrong was in keeping Morstan's share of the treasure.
And you want us to right this wrong?
Yes, but I must tell you where I've hidden the treasure. You will then make restitution. Put your ear down close to my mouth. My strength is... Keep him out! The fish at the window! For the Lord's sake, keep him out!
My brother and I rushed to the window, but we were only in time to catch a glimpse of a wild, cruel-eyed, hairy face before it disappeared. When we returned, our father was dead.
Who's there?
I, McMurdo. Surely you know my knock by this time.
Would seem your brother Bartholomew also protects himself against intruders.
Evening, Mr. Thaddeus. But who be the others? I've had no orders about them.
I distinctly told my brother last night I was bringing friends.
But I ain't been out of his rooms all day, Mr. Thaddeus, and I have no orders. I can let you in, but your friends must stay where they are.
If I guarantee them, that should be good enough for you. Now, you can't keep a young lady waiting out on a cold night like this.
Very sorry, Mr. Thaddeus.
Mr. McMurdo, I don't think you can have forgotten me. Don't you remember that amateur who fought 3 rounds with you in Allison's rooms? The night of the benefit, 2 years back.
Not Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Indeed.
Broad Street.
McMurdo won't keep us out in the cold now, I'm sure.
In you come, sir. You and your friends. Who's to tell, Mr. Thaddeus? Glad to see you. The master ain't ate a thing all day. I brought him up a tray and knocked. He didn't even answer.
But I don't understand any of it. Bartholomew was expecting us.
I suggest we go up to your brother, Mr. Sholto.
There's something amiss with Bartholomew. My nerves can't stand
Quiet, quiet. Let's see if we can rouse him. Open up. Open up, Mr. Sholto. It's your brother and some friends. Bolt it. Watson, put your eye to the keyhole and let us know what you see.
Good Lord, Holmes. There's something devilish in there. What's to be done?
The door must come down. Give me a hand.
Right. The scene which met our eyes was so bizarre it might well have come straight out of the Grand Guignol. The room had been fitted up as a chemical laboratory with glass stoppered bottles, Bunsen burners, and other scientific paraphernalia. Bartholomew Sholto sat in a wooden chair by a large table in the center of the room. One glance showed that he was dead, with a ghastly, inscrutable smile on his face.
Look here, Watson. What do you make of this?
Appears to be a thorn stuck in the skin just above the ear.
Precisely. You may pluck it out, but be careful, for it's poisoned.
Oh, dear.
And read what's scrawled upon that torn sheet of paper.
The sign of the four. In heaven's name, what does it mean, Holmes?
Murder, Watson. Murder, vengeance. I have but to supply only 2 more links to have an entirely connected case.
Only 2 more links, and the puzzle will fall in place? Watson has 100 questions, and I'm sure that you have an equal number that you'd like answered. They will be, as we follow the clues with Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, when we continue with Act 2 in just a few minutes. From time immemorial, men have sought buried treasure. Few have found it, and many have died in the search. Fabulous riches seem to be a Pandora's box, which unleashes the human passions of greed, deceit, and treachery, which ultimately lead to death. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson are examining the room in which Bartholomew Sholto met his dreadful death.
Now, Watson, we have a half hour before the police come. Let us make good use of it. In the first place, how did these folks come, and how did they go?
Folk? You mean there was more than one?
Well, surely. Now, let us first examine the window. Window locked on inside. No hinges. We open it. No water pipe near. Roof quite out of reach. Yet a man is mounted by the window. It rained little last night, and here is the print of a foot upon the sill. And here is a circular muddy mark. And there again on the floor by the table. You see, Watson?
That's not a footmark.
Well, it's something much more valuable. The impression of a wooden stump.
Oh, come, Holmes. You never make me believe a wooden-legged man climbed up the wall and...
Come here a minute. Now look out the window. Could any able-bodied man scale that sheer brick wall?
Well, absolutely impossible.
Agreed. But suppose you had a friend up here who lowered you this good stout rope that I see over there in the corner. Then I think, if you were an active man, you might swarm up, wooden leg and all, and then get away in the same fashion. Your ally would then lock the window from the inside after drawing up the rope.
Well, it seems possible, but how can you be so certain?
Well, you notice I examined the rope, from which I deduced that our wooden-legged man, though a fair climber, wasn't a professional sailor. His hands were far from horny. If you look closely, especially towards the end of the rope, you'll see that he slipped down so fast, he took a good deal of skin off his hands.
All right, but what about this mysterious ally? How did he get in?
Capital, Watson, capital. You've hit upon the singular aspect of the case. although there are parallels in India. But if you look around the house and the grounds, you'll find a solution.
Huh. Aside from the fact that it looks as if all the moles in England have been let loose about the place, I see nothing to help us.
Once again, you've hit upon it, Watson. The holes, of course, were dug in the course of the search for the treasure, which was ultimately found in the secret room above here, between this room and the garret.
Ah, of course. He came through the hole in the ceiling by way of the roof.
Of course he did. And now it behooves us to extend our investigation to the secret room in which the treasure was found. Here you are, Watson. A trap door which leads out to the roof. This, then, is the way number 1 entered. Aha, look, on the floor, we shall find other traces of his individuality. The print of a small, naked foot.
Good Lord, Holmes. A child has done this horrible thing?
Oh, nonsense, Watson. This was something I should have foreseen. My memory failed me momentarily. Well, there's nothing more to be learned here.
Well, Holmes, if it wasn't a child, what was it?
Well, you know my methods, Watson. Apply them.
Well,
Hello up there! Who are you and what are you doing?
Constabulary, we'd best go down and explain our presence.
Why, it's Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the theorist.
Mr. Athelney Jones.
The same, sir. But there's no room for theories here. By his own admission, Sholto was with his brother last night. The brother died of some fit or other, and Sholto walked off with the treasure. How does that strike you?
On which the dead man got up and locked the door on the inside.
But we mustn't lose sight of the facts. This Thaddeus Sholto was his brother. There was an argument. The brother is dead. The jewels are gone.
Well, you're not quite in possession of all the facts, Inspector. This splinter of wood, which I have every reason to believe to be poisoned, was in the man's scalp. You can see the mark? This card, inscribed as you see it, was on the table, and beside it lay this rather curious stone-headed instrument.
There's no difficulty there. The house is full of Indian curiosities. If the splinter's poisonous, Thaddeus could well have made use of it. And the only question remaining is, how did he get out? I've got it. The hole in the ceiling. It must lead to the roof. You were up there, sir. Is there
a trapdoor, which could be opened, which leads on to the roof.
Well, then I have my case. I'm going to charge Thaddeus Sholto.
Well, I must warn you, Inspector, that you're moving too fast too soon.
With all due respect to your theories, Mr. Holmes, I'm satisfied that I have all I need.
Well, then you would have no interest in the name and description of one of the 2 men who were in this room last night.
I'm a police officer, Mr. Holmes. And if that's a joke, it's in very bad taste.
His name is Jonathan Small. He's poorly educated, small, active. He's lost his right leg and wears a wooden stump which is worn away on the inner side. His left boot has a coarse, square-toed sole with an iron band around the heel. He's middle-aged, much sunburned, and has been a convict, and there's a good deal of skin missing from the palms of his hands.
Well, it beats me how you come up with all these things, Mr. Holmes. But I admit, you make it sound mighty convincing. How about the other man?
The other man, Inspector, is a rather curious person. I hope to be able to introduce you to the pair of them before you drag poor Mr. Sholto into court.
Holmes sent me to see Mary Morstan safely home and meet him back at Baker Street. There was little conversation on the ride back to her lodgings in the cab. I accepted her offer of tea.
Dr. Watson, I'm truly sorry that I seem to have dragged you into a nightmare.
Oh, my dear girl, don't apologize. Holmes and I, we've investigated some pretty rough cases, and besides, had you not come to us, we should never have met.
It's kind of you to say that.
Kindness has nothing to do with it. Mary, I mean Miss Morstan.
Well, you may call me Mary.
Mary,
Yes?
Well, I was going to say that you need have no fear. Holmes will get to the bottom of this.
With your help.
Oh, sure. Holmes is kind enough to say that I act as a sort of catalyst to him, but...
I'm sure it's true. But you said something before about the case bringing us together. Was that important to you?
Well, I should say... Well, you know that, don't you, Mary?
Well, I thought so, but... Well, you seem changed.
Well, you know, Holmes will surely recover the treasure. That will make you a very rich young lady.
Oh, I'm not thinking about that.
Well, I am.
Why?
Because it's important. Very.
Not to me. And I shouldn't have thought that you were the type to be so concerned with money. At least you didn't appear that way when we first met.
Yes, well, the situation was a bit different then, wasn't it?
How?
Well, for one thing, I had no idea you'd turn out to be such a wealthy woman.
And why should that matter?
Well, hang it all, Mary. If you can't see how it matters, I can't possibly explain it to you. So, well, I wish you a very good night. I left Miss Morstan's lodgings in a foul mood and went directly to our rooms at Baker Street and then to bed. I was awakened very early the next morning by the curious sound of what I was sure was a dog barking. I thought I must have dreamed it, because I knew Holmes would never have a dog in our lodgings. And then Holmes rapped on the door and called out sharply,
"I need you, my dear chap. Get dressed, and be sure to put on a pair of stout walking shoes."
I was out of bed, washed and dressed speedily, and upon entering the study, saw that I hadn't dreamed the dog. What's this, Holmes?
Well, even you, my dear chap, can see that this is a dog. His name is Toby. He's probably the best tracker in London, and today we're going to use him to lead us to Jonathan Small.
Oh, with all due respect to Toby's nose, Holmes, how in the world do you expect a dog to track a scent which is at least 24 hours old?
I ask you to sniff this handkerchief.
Huh?
Well?
There's a distinctly tarry smell about it.
Exactly. Now, in my investigations at Pondicherry Lodge last night, I ascertained that our small man had stepped onto some creosote on the edge of the window. If you can smell it, I have no doubt that Toby here will have even less difficulty in tracking. So, let's be off to Pondicherry Lodge and start our hunt.
Just as the sun was rising, I found myself with Holmes on the grounds of Pondicherry Lodge. Holmes began to circle around the house, looking, as he put it,
for a likely spot where our small man descended. It would have to be someplace that's climbable. Here's a water spout that seems pretty firm. What do you say, Watson?
I can't budge it, Holmes.
So it should certainly have held the small man's weight. And here's a water barrel. Here, bring Toby over here, will you? And I'll let him get a whiff of this handkerchief, and then we shall see what happens. Here you are, Toby. Smell it. Smell it. He's on the trail, Watson.
Toby led us across the grounds and over to the boundary wall, whining eagerly. He led us to a break from which we could see people had clambered over the wall. Holmes climbed up. I handed Toby up to him, joined him, and then we dropped down to the other side.
We're in luck. There's been no rain. The scent's still very strong. Toby should have no trouble. Hello. What's this?
Well, appears to be a cigarette case.
No, something much more deadly, I suspect. You see these hellish things, Watson?
Yes. They're the same as the thorn we found in Bartholomew Shelter.
Exactly. And mind you don't prick yourself. I'd sooner face a bullet myself. All right, old boy, all right. We're with you.
Well, we're fortunate that one of those devils put his foot in creosote, Holmes?
Chance has given us an easy way of tracing them, but I have enough knowledge to enable me to trace them in 4 different ways. This is just the simplest.
I marvel at the way you obtain your results. How, for example, could you describe the wooden-legged man to Inspector Jones with such confidence?
There's no miracle there, my dear fellow. As soon as we heard of the existence of a treasure, everything became obvious. Think, Watson. 2 officers assigned to India. It was child's play to ascertain from the War Office that they were in command of a convict guard. Now, you recall the piece of paper belonging to Captain Morstan that Miss Morstan showed us on the way to Pondicherry Lodge?
Well, it was some old map.
Yes, precisely. The sort of map used to locate a treasure, and it was signed Jonathan Small and 3 other non-English names.
The sign of the 4.
Excellent, Watson. Now, think back on how Major Sholto died.
Well, his heart gave out.
Yes, but why, man? What caused it?
Thaddeus told us he saw a face at the window. It frightened him.
Exactly. Now, doesn't it follow that a man who deprived his own partner of a treasure would also deprive a convict of his share? and would then live in fear in the event that the convict escaped. Actual fear of his life.
But Holmes, you said it wasn't Small who killed Bartholomew. His associate.
Quite so. Did you take a pistol with you?
Well, I had my stick.
Well, I'll leave the wooden-leg man to you, but if the associate turns nasty, I shall shoot him dead.
We seem to be approaching their hiding place.
Undoubtedly. Keep a sharp eye out.
They seem to have taken refuge in a lumber yard. Oh, there's the little beast taking us. Holmes, what does this mean?
It means, my dear Watson, that Toby's nose is infallible.
Huh?
That barrel on which he's jumped so proudly is a barrel full of creosote.
In the famous Conan Doyle story, A Scandal in Bohemia, Sherlock Holmes was outwitted for the first time in his life by a woman, Irene Adler, who Holmes ever after referred to as the woman. Now it appears that the great detective has been misled by a dog. We'll return with Act 3 in just a few minutes. The legendary pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is old stuff. And I dare say most of us have chased it at one time or another, only to have the sought-after treasure turn out to be worthless. However, I doubt if any of us have had the unfortunate experience of Sherlock Holmes and his friend Dr. Watson, who, believing they'd found the hiding place of a pair of criminals and a cache of fabulous jewels, found instead only a barrel of creosote.
It's obvious what happened, Watson. If you remember the place where our good friend Toby seemed to lose the trail, that must have been where two trails crossed. Toby just chose the wrong one. We're fortunate that it's not too far back. Come, let's retrace our steps.
And so it proved. Taken back to where he'd been running in circles, Toby happily set off on another trail, which led us through Belmont Place and Prince's Street right down to the water's edge, where there was a small wooden wharf. Toby led us to the very edge, where he stood whining, looking out on the dark current beyond.
We've run out of luck, Watson. They've taken to a boat here.
Well, that's that then, eh? They've gotten clean away.
Not necessarily. Look at that sign.
Mordecai Smith. Boats for hire by the hour of the day, including the steam launch Aurora.
And we see from the pile of coke on the jetty that the Aurora is indeed a steam launch, and that she isn't here. Come, Watson. You just keep Toby quiet while I see if anyone's in the shack.
Yes?
I'd like to speak to Mordecai Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry to say, sir, my man's away. I've been away since yesterday morning, sir. And truth to tell, I'm beginning to feel frightened about him.
I wanted to hire his steam launch.
Oh, I bless you, sir. It's in the steam launch that he's gone. And that's what puzzles me, for I know there ain't enough coals in it that would take it to Woolwich and back.
Well, mightn't he have bought some at the wharf down the river?
Oh, it weren't his way, sir. Besides, I didn't like that wooden-legged man with his ugly face and outlandish talk.
You say a wooden-legged man?
Oh, yes, sir. A brown, monkey-faced chap. It was him that roused my man yesternight. And what's more, there was steam up in the launch. Oh, I tell you straight, sir, I'm upset with worry.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith, because I wanted a steam launch, and I've heard good reports of the Aurora. She's green with a yellow line and very broad in the beam.
Oh, then it can't be the Aurora you're after, sir. She's as trim a little thing as any on the river. And she's been fresh painted black with 2 red streaks.
I was all for engaging a launch and setting off downriver to track the Aurora. But Holmes pointed out what a colossal task that would be. Therefore, after returning Toby to his grateful owner, we found ourselves in the office of Attorney Jones at Scotland Yard.
Well, Holmes, I'm very happy to tell you I've got the whole lot of them in jail now.
The whole lot?
Yes. The brother Thaddeus, that prizefighter McMurdo, and the Indian servant Lal something or other. And there's no question. but they were in it together.
How did you arrive at that interesting conclusion?
Well, you helped by showing me that there had to be two people. And what more likely than those two who were always in the house?
Well, haven't you overlooked the fact that they were loyal servants of the murdered man?
Oh, according to Thaddeus, Mr. Holmes. He wanted to lead us up the garden path, you see.
And the motive?
The missing treasure, of course. The murdered man was, by all accounts, a tight-fisted skinflint who didn't want to give up his share of the treasure to his partner. And he must have been the same way with his servants. The treasure's the key, Mr. Holmes. Mark my words.
I agree with you. But I gave you the name of the man I believe responsible.
And you're sticking to that? Well, we shall see, Mr. Holmes. We shall see. What brought you here, then?
I'm here to ask a favor. I'd like a missing steam launch located. It's the sort of job you people here at Scotland Yard do so well.
A steam launch? But don't tell me one of your clients mislaid his launch.
I won't. I believe it's connected with the Sholto killing.
How?
I think the criminals used it to effect their escape.
All that day and the morning of the next, Holmes fretted, complaining about the fact that Scotland Yard had been unable to locate the Aurora.
The whole river has been searched on either side with no success. It's too much. There's no word today. I'll be forced to believe they've scuttled the craft. But there aren't too many logical objections to that. I put an advertisement in the agony column of the Times, and if we hear nothing today, I'll have to take to the river myself.
Well, I shall accompany you.
No. You'd be much more useful if you stay here as my representative.
Well, but Holmes...
No need to argue, for it may not come to that. We may yet have news today.
But we heard nothing. On the following day, Holmes left before I was up. I lounged around the flat all day, hoping there was no flaw in my companion's reasoning. And at 3 o'clock, there was a knock on the door.
Good day, sir. Mr. Holmes is out, I understand.
Yes, Inspector. I don't know when he'll be back. But if you'd care to take a chair and try one of these cigars.
Thank you. I don't mind if I do. Your friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, is a wonderful man, sir. I had this wire from him this morning. Here's the message.
Go to Baker Street at once. If I have not returned, wait for me. I'm close on the track. You can come with us tonight if you want to be in at the finish.
What do you make of it?
Well, sounds hopeful.
Are you expecting someone?
Oh, well, perhaps an answer to Holmes' advertisement. Excuse me. Yes, my man? What is it?
Well, now, sir, you must give an old cart like me time to catch his breath after these stairs.
Oh, yes?
Is Mr. Sherlock Holmes here?
No, but come in. I'm acting for him. You can give me the message.
Nay, it was only to himself I was to tell it.
But I tell you, I'm his representative. Was it about the Aurora? Mordecai Smith's boat?
I know where it is, and I knows where the men she's after are, and I knows where the treasure is. I knows all about it.
Well, then, tell me. I shall let him know.
It was to him I was to tell it.
I'm a police officer. You have important information, and we shall keep you, whether you like it or not, until our friend returns.
Pretty sort of treatment, this. I come here to see a gentleman, and you two seize me and treat me in this fashion.
Oh, now. I promise you shan't lose a penny for your loss of time. Just sit over there on the sofa, and you won't have to wait long.
All right. We'll see.
Well, now, Inspector, where were we?
Yes, I was just about to say that I think Mr. Sherlock Holmes would have made a most promising police officer.
Oh, here, your cigar's gone out. Allow me to relight it.
Well, I think that you might offer me a cigar, too.
Holmes! Where's the old man?
Here he is. Wig, whiskers, eyebrows, and all.
Good Lord.
I hardly expected my disguise to stand a test like this.
Oh, you are a rogue, sir.
The case is all but solved. You may have all the official credit, but I insist on certain conditions. Agreed?
Entirely, if we're successful.
We shall be. First, I want your fastest police boat. A steam launch at the Westminster Stairs at 7 o'clock tonight.
Easily managed.
We shall need 2 staunch men in case of resistance.
You shall have them.
And when we capture the men, we'll get the treasure.
Here's our launch, Mr. Holmes, right on the dot.
Go, have that green light taken off the side. We don't want to have it spotted as a police launch.
See to it, men. Come aboard, gentlemen. Where to, Mr. Holmes?
To the tower. Stop opposite Jacobson's yard.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Holmes, are you going to tell us how you located the Aurora?
Deduction, Watson. Pure deduction. I knew that if Scotland Yard reported she hadn't put in at any wharf or slip along the river, she hadn't. Therefore, where would one hide a steam launch but didn't have enough coal to go very far? Well, I might very well hand the launch over to some boat builder to make some trifling repair. She would then be removed to his yard and effectively concealed.
Oh, that seems a very simple solution.
It's always the simple things which are overlooked. I drew 14 blanks until I learned that the Aurora had been handed over to Jacobson's yard for a repair to her rudder. A needless one, I might add. And that she would be called for at 8 o'clock sharp tonight.
But where are they going?
Either to Gravesend or the Downs, to board some ship that will take them out of the country.
Well, you've worked it out all very neatly. But if the affair were in my hands, I'd have some policemen in Jacobson's and nab them when they came down.
Which would be never. This man Small is a shrewd article. He'd undoubtedly send someone ahead to make sure that there was no one lurking around the yard.
Well, and now we wait, huh?
Exactly. And the minute we sight her, we go after her.
It's after 8, Holmes.
And there's the Aurora. And going like the very devil. Get after her. The launch with the yellow light.
By heavens, she's a flyer. I think we're gaining.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Oh, we'll be up with her in a very few minutes. And Holmes, that is a child on the deck.
You should have consulted the encyclopedia, my dear Watson, about the aborigines of the Andaman Islands, who are reported to be the smallest race on Earth, as well as the fiercest and most intractable.
We're near enough to hail them. Ahoy, Aurora!
Down, man!
This is the police!
Down to your right!
You hit him, Holmes!
That little savage won't blow any more of his poison darts.
I thought we'd found all of them in the pouch.
All except the one he carried in his blowpipe.
They turned. They're heading for shore, but they're on the ground.
Stand clear. Swing about and mind her stern.
The Aurora had run aground on a mudbank. The wooden-legged man, mouthing curses, sprang ashore, but his stump sank in the mud. He was easily captured. The treasure chest was intact on the deck of the Aurora, and in a very short time, I brought it to Mary Morstan. The chest wasn't heavy, but my heart was.
You weren't hurt? Oh, Dr. Watson, I'm glad to see you're all right.
Oh, it came through with flying colors. And here's your treasure. Well, aren't you going to open it?
It's strange, but the treasure seems to mean more to you than it does to me.
Well, I'd rather say that it means a lot to both of us. You need some help with the lid there.
Thank you. Why, it's empty.
It can't be. It's impossible.
Would you see who that is, please?
Oh, yes, certainly. Oh, Holmes, do you know that the treasure is gone?
Yes.
Well, do you know where it is?
At the bottom of the Thames, where Small threw the gems, piece by piece, during the chase.
Oh, dear. Wouldn't it have been simpler for him just to chuck the chest overboard?
Well, that was a compliment to me. He told us that any man smart enough to track him would be smart enough to fish up a whole chest from the bottom of the river.
Well, that means that Mary will never get...
Well, I think she'll get something she treasures a lot more, Watson, if you'll ask her to be your wife.
And so Doyle married Watson off to Mary Morstan, and they lived happily ever after. But Doyle didn't. He found that having Watson, a married man, interfered with his being able to accompany Holmes on his cases. He regretted ever having created the character. But, being a true English gentleman, he never killed Mary off, but was forever sending her on vacations to allow Watson to move back with Holmes. I'll be back shortly. One of the most intriguing elements of the Sherlock Holmes stories was the fabulously provocative titles of cases that Holmes had worked on, but which Watson never chronicled. Years later, Doyle's son and John Dixon Carr collaborated on writing some to fit the titles. But the most tantalizing title of all has never been attempted. That title is The Adventure of Ricoletti of the Clubfoot and His Abominable Wife. Now, there's a title that conjures up all sorts of deviltry. Maybe one of our Mystery Theater writers will come up with a story to fit it. Our cast included Kevin McCarthy, Court Benson, Jackson Beck, Earl Hammond, and Joan Shea. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre.